The more you try to keep me down and keep my head above the water, you can never hold me down. The more you try to block me out, that's where I kick the wall down. You can never hold me back. The more you try to put me out, the more I'll be blazing, it's too hot. The more you try to put me in the dirt, increase my work, the expert. You see the hunger in the eyes of a survivor. Swallowed my pride, washed down with some saliva. Reinvented my whole life, mental MacGyver. One door shut, another open up wider. Listen, battle drums in the distance, moving with enough force like army tank pistons. Pray for the strength of Jah to fight resistance. Fight mode, shields up, moving with resilience.
The strength of 1,000 lion and the strength of 1,000 giant. Please stay strong. Please stay strong. With the strength of 1,000 elephant and the strength of 1,000 tiger, we stay strong. We stay strong.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pinecase podcast, the podcast where music is our drug of choice. It's your host, Casey, aka Kalisha Campbell, and tonight I'm hanging out with the one and only Cody Spierenburg, all the freaking way from Nicaragua. Hello, welcome.
Hi guys, so nice to be here. Thank you.
Oh, the pleasure is all of ours. Thank you so much for donating some of your time to come and hang out with us tonight and hash out some truths and some life and some love and, you know, just throw it back to the community a little bit and let them know what is going on in the rest of the world. So like, because you seriously have laid some tracks, you know,
Yeah.
right?
Thank you.
Yeah, man. I was like, this is somebody who obviously isn't saying no very often in their life, which is such a skill to have.
No, I'm not saying. My motto is say yes to life, and follow and bump into people and see where it goes. It's serendipity practice that gets me into a lot of fun and gets me into a lot of places that I wouldn't normally expect to be in sometimes. So it's just it's a manifestation of divine law or law of the universe, I guess, that's just applicated in a way that allows me to have a lot of freedom, I guess.
Oh, the law of attraction. You know what? Someone really smart showed me that book a million years ago.
Right?
And yeah, and I thought it was such like, I was like, this is silly. Like, there's no way, you know, the storyboards and the vision boards and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, whatever, like, sure. And
Exactly.
right. And then I came out of college and moved into my
It's
life
all
essentially.
woo-woo.
Right. And I opened up my laptop and on there was literally like all my stuff. And I'm like, dude, I live in that house. Like I live in that house, man.
Oh,
That's the view. Like that is the
I
absolute view
love
that I
that.
picked out. Like this is the, you know, it's not even just like the car that I picked out, it's like the color of the car. I was like, this is so wild. And so from there I was just like, okay, you know, this is really interesting. Like I really want to focus my life on saying yes more and visualizing what things can be and stuff. So
Yeah, I had a similar experience. One time I was just searching the YouTube. It was back in like 2012, and I came upon a manifesting page, and I was like, "What? You can do this?" I was like, "Okay, well, this changes the game. Like, I'm not gonna like conform to a 9 to 5 anymore because if I just manifest anything, I think I'm gonna like practice that instead."
Okay, well, let's talk about that a little bit. So, like, where exactly did that happen? Because you did used to work, maybe not a 9 to 5, but you were definitely working like a
Yeah,
traditional kind of
I
job.
was. Yeah, I was. So after what, since I was a kid, I've had this vision in my head that I would be wise, and I was represented by a library of books. And I went through the whole university process in the University of Calgary to get my geology degree. And when I finished, I realized I was like, I just memorized books for
Whoa.
6 years straight. I have a lot of knowledge, but I don't have any wisdom. So that's what set me off on a trajectory to like kind of track down like what is wisdom and like how does this world work? I don't know. Memorizing textbooks is not going to get me too far into the afterlife. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. No, you're right, because we all, I mean, there's such a standard, right? It's like grow up, finish school, have a spouse, 2.5 kids, white picket fence,
Absolutely.
right? And especially
So
like,
the thing is that we're souls and we're not living by human laws, and we've been trained to live by human laws, but the every law that a human law that you conform to is actually just a limitation on your own divinity at the end of the day. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So I guess yeah.
yeah,
So
absolutely. Like, do you think that the way that people were structured to live, I don't know, I don't want to say it's not the way, because obviously there's a lot of people that get into that and it becomes their comfort zone almost. And it's like they're kind of missing out on other things, you know.
yeah, so that's kind of what direction I wanted to go today in the podcast was is we want to talk about empowering men, and we want men who are feeling constricted in their lives to open up uh they want to open up more power empowerment is at the end of the day.
Mhm.
So I want to do that through divinity. And I want to remind men that there is a holy part of you, there is a soul part of you, there is a uh, magic part of you, there is a part of you that has been like hidden from you. There's an ancestral lineage of your soul that goes on for eternity. And you are honestly not separate in any way from all that is around you. And any separation from is an illusion, and that illusion causes pain. And that pain causes frustration and so on, and it gets to depression and it gets to stuckness.
Yeah.
And how do we just insert a sliver of divinity? It doesn't have to be a pie in the sky God. It doesn't have to be a dude on the cross. It doesn't have to be any weird anything. It's just like accepting your own spirituality, uh, your own personal spirituality, a slice of divinity within you, and then that grows. And what we were talking in the pre-show was um, the energy of the universe is perfect divine love. It's immaculate love. And that immaculate love needs to start within you. You need to give that to yourself first, that immaculate love, and it starts to rub off on all your relationships. And eventually creates community. It spreads like a wildfire or a fungi or something, and it spreads into everyone you know, but it has to, the seed has to, the start of it has to come from giving it to yourself, watering it to yourself, saying nice things about yourself, looking in the mirror and loving and adoring that person in the reflection. It's
So many
yeah.
times we get caught up in this, like, I don't even want to say self-loathing, but I can use myself as an example, right? Like if I compare myself to other people, or if I even compare myself to myself, right? I'm like, okay, this is what I set out. Like, and I try to be really mindful about what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put this schedule together. I'm gonna set my goals. I'm gonna do, short-term goals and long-term goals and all of this stuff. And I really try to be like on top of this sort of thing. And I still get hung up in, oh, I didn't accomplish that. That means that I failed. I don't, and I find
Yeah,
myself
for
comparing
sure.
myself to people that aren't even contributing to the
Okay.
situation.
Yeah. So what is going on there is a upstream swim.
Hmm.
Do you understand kind of the metaphor there?
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. It's like I'm going against like
against the current. So what
mhm.
people don't realize is that there's many names for it. I don't want to sound cliche, but the Tao, the energy of life of
Mhm.
the plants getting watered by rain and the clouds coming in perfect shade and the oceans being the perfect temperature and the orbit being the perfect distance from the sun. This energy of that kind of consistent nature force is a downhill force. It's a downstream force. So in that sense, you're not relaxing enough and letting go of the oars. Hey, you're trying to scramble up the mountain when there's a slide right over there, and he's I don't know. It sounds illogical at the end of the day because um, downstream is not what's taught in our society.
Why
It's
do you think that is though? Like, why do you think we get put into these situations where, like, going against the comfort, like, if this whole ecosystem is all built and operates without us, right? Like, we don't, humans have no interjection in that at all. It just is like this beautiful ecosystem that's life. Why do you think that the system, and I'm going to say the system because I feel like that's obviously where it's coming from, like systemic, yeah, it's totally the system is forcing us, or has taught us, maybe not even forced us, but convinced us that going upstream and suffering and despair and disorganization and all of this stuff, like, why do you think that that's
it's
our standard?
well, this is the thing is just we want to talk about today's personal sovereignty, right?
Hmm.
Um, we okay. I'm gonna do a silly test.
Okay.
And I want you to think of a pink elephant.
Okay.
Okay, you got it in your head.
Yeah.
Now, can the system, can the government, can anyone, your mom or dad, teachers, stop you from thinking of that pink elephant?
No.
No, no one can, right? So at the end of the day, you're always free to think the thoughts you want to think.
Mm.
But if you give your power away to a system and let it dictate what you're going to think,
Yeah.
uh, that's the only time you can really be enslaved. You know what I mean? Uh, at the end of the day, um, you can train yourself, and there's many mystical schools in this on this planet that teach this, that you can direct your thoughts in a empowering way. And we go back to the law of attraction, and you start thinking about things like, I am invincible, for instance. I'm invincible. How many people do you know that have that belief, or even like allow themselves to believe they're allowed to have that belief, right?
Probably not many. And it's interesting because, you see those stickers that say, like, I am enough. And I always thought that was interesting because even that is more than what we allow ourselves to think. Like, I am enough. But even that kind
Yeah,
of like,
exactly.
even kind of caps it, like, to start a like a mantra that's like, I am invincible, like, I am perfect, like, those aren't even in
Yeah,
the
I
jar to
am.
pick from. Like,
The word of the day yesterday was immaculate, and it's like
Yeah.
divine perfection, like with elegance stuff. It's immaculate, and that's really what our souls and our divinity is immaculate design.
Yeah.
And but I don't. Now we're all on crazy tangents. I don't even know. I had a full plan for what I was going to talk about, but this is
I'm s-
perfect.
I'm so sorry. I'm so bad for that. So okay, but hold on a second, because that's really cool. So wait, you have like a word of the day?
Mm, mm. Sometimes
What?
if I find a cool one,
What?
yeah.
That's really
But
neat.
something that resonates, a new word that resonates. It's like alignment, like empowerment, immaculate,
Yeah.
joy. You know,
Okay. And so, like, what's the purpose? Like, it's just to focus on that word, or like see how you can like exercise that word? Like, tell me more, because this seems
well,
like kind of a
okay,
simple
okay, okay.
tool to
Here,
have.
easy tool. Okay, so how about
Yeah.
this? Feel the energy of no, 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 no.
Yeah.
And then feel the energy of yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can feel the energy, the difference between those vocal audio wavelengths. You can do that with any word, right? They all have harmonic resonances that you can focus on and amplify. And they say, okay, here's this quick trick for you. So it takes 17 seconds to activate a vibration. Takes uh, 68 seconds for momentum to start, and 128 seconds for it to actually start manifesting in reality. So the name of the game is focus, right? At the end of the day, if you can focus your mind for 128 seconds, which is quite a long time for a lot of monkey minds, like me included. But if you can focus for 128 seconds on what you want, you're actually starting to vibrate that at a specific rate that actually is starting to manifest in your future and being drawn to you. And the thing is, the example you always give is when you're driving, first of all, you don't look in your rearview mirror the whole time you're driving. And second of all, when you're going somewhere, you keep the image of the place that you're trying to go in your brain. If you take a wrong turn, you get off the highway somehow, you just go back on the highway and keep the vision of where you want to go in your head, and you end up there. The same thing is with manifesting or like dirt bike riding, even. You keep your eye on where you want to go.
Yeah.
If manifest, you keep your eye focused 128 seconds, but can you? I mean, a lot of people get too,
Distracted.
I don't know, distracted very quickly, 20 seconds. So this is when meditation and mind strengthening practices really come into play because, first of all, we touched on it earlier, it's the relaxation that brings the power, not the activation of force or energy or anything. It's the relaxation, it's the allowing of it to come to you, to flow to you. It's, yeah, it's a lot of allowing and relaxing. And go ahead. Yeah, that's just,
No, I'm just so, this is so beautiful because I always assumed that in order to get to these places, you see these people, like, I mean, even just your background looks peaceful. I'm like, I want more of that in my life, right? Like, and I always just feel like these people that kind of walk around floating around is like a super challenging thing to get to, right? I mean, even just like the Calico put up like the Ohm sign, and I was like, whoa, no, like you're gonna freak people out with that thing, like get that out of here or whatever. That's not what we're doing. Like, and I didn't even mean to be disrespectful. I just, it's like as soon as you see these things, it feels like it's like too much language, too much information. I got to commit too much to myself to get into that. But to think that there is like this little 120 seconds, like to me that seems completely reasonable. Like that seems like a very reasonable place to start.
doesn't it? And
Yeah.
what's the old saying is, if you don't have time to meditate for 15 minutes, you should meditate for 30. And it's like,
That's
because
so clever. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Frick. And that's the problem. We all get into this, like we're kind and going back to the stream, it's like we're all trying to get up this stream. We're all fighting for our lives. We're all feeling the pressure, and our neighbors are looking over the fence, and we're like, oh my gosh. And then it's like, man, if you had carrots, and I say it on the show a lot, if you had carrots and I had potatoes and we work together, we build up that sense of community, then like
Yeah.
I'm not even be worried about what you think of me because we're already cool like that. Like that piece
Well,
leaves, right? Just
yeah.
leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you want to build up too at the same time, like we have to remember we are a 3D reality encapsulated in a 5D higher dimensional, like those Russian dolls thing. We are inside of another reality, what's inside of another reality. These higher dimensions are calling upon to be explored right now. We're calling upon to travel to other planets and stuff. Like first astral projection wise, but then like literally they're talking about light workers who have ascended far enough, like going to the Syrian Council and studying with them eventually and being like, the only way you need to communicate with higher intelligence life forms in the universe is empathy and intuition.
Mhm.
And that's what they look for when they're trying to scout a human that's ready to go off planet is intuition and empathy. And empathy is being able to feel the seventh sense psychically what another person or being is feeling. And
Yeah.
intuition is the ability or psychic ability. That's trigger word too, but psychic, it is psychic. Intuition is the ability to access information without knowing it first.
Wow. You said trigger word. Do you think that we use like
Cliche or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
a
Do you
word that is so triggered now, it's so compact with people's bias, and
yeah.
you can't even say the word because it's like it resonates so differently with so many different people.
Yeah. The first time I ever experienced a word like that was ignorant, actually. And people are like, that's you're being so rude. And I'm like, what? Like,
Mm.
what? No, it just
Mm.
means like lack of information. And they're like, no, that's not what
Hmm.
ignorant means. They just like, no, it means, you're calling me like an asshole. I'm like, no, no, I'm
No, no,
calling
no.
you like I'm just saying that you don't have all the information here, right? And it's funny how like as a society we find those crazy is another one, right? We're so dismissive of it. We're like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, that means you're like, totally off the wall. It's like, but now we've almost ran that word like in the other direction, right? It's
That's
super
why, like,
dismissive. Like,
honestly, if I could segue into my next like bullet
absolutely,
point is
yeah,
there is a human spirituality in this world is full of bias and uh, preconceived notions of things and mythological
yeah,
ideas. Human spirituality sets off someone's like BS detector really strongly. A lot of times you'll find. And there's contradictions one week after the next. There's weird incongruencies in their messages. Human spirituality is just like kind of low frequency bunks. But there's another way to get your spirituality, and it's a channeled source. It's a message that comes directly from a non physical speaker. The human mind sets itself aside, and the channel will speak through that human being. And then you're getting it right from the horse's mouth, right?
yeah.
You're getting it truth. You're not getting that bias of like, oh, well, maybe I should pray on my knees, or maybe I should go like this with my hands. Those are all
It's
arbitrary, like,
it's so
so.
funny. Like I never really so it took me a really long time to get comfortable with the things that I was receiving because there's a fine line between like psychosis and spirituality, right? Or like being able to be, so open that you're receiving messages because those things can be very much the same thing or can present themselves in very much the same way. And so, for myself, I was like, I'm losing my mind. Like I've lost it. I don't know why I'm experiencing this, but it can't be that. And it wasn't until way later on in my life when people were doing very similar things that I had done. And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
wait,
me
that
too.
means that, right? Like that's what that is. I didn't know that. I just thought I was hallucinating. Like I wasn't sure what it was that I was experiencing. Um,
What's
but
what's interesting with that is like a grounded 3D reality comes sometimes needs psychosis to it's a shortcut actually.
right,
It's kind of like a bypass to a higher dimensional, but it gets the the signals get a little haywire on the way. But I
right,
don't know many other paths. Not many people have been through psychosis that aren't spiritual, you know.
Well, and then maybe even it's society saying that like that's not normal, so we're going to look at it as like a negative thing, because every time I've ever met with somebody, and even I would even go so far as to saying like in the mental institution, I live very close to a big one, and a um and
Where's that?
I would be just outside of Pinoca. So one of Canada's biggest institutions is in Pinoca, which is
Yeah, I've
not
been to
very.
that one.
Yes, yeah, yeah, and so, but
Yeah.
I would be hard pressed to find anybody there that isn't also very spiritual,
Yeah,
right?
and there's it's a link that a lot of people like to deny, but um, I mean, yeah,
But do you think that that's to like keep the masses ignorant then? Because I mean, these are
no, well, they're ignorant, right? And
yeah.
they're confused, and they have a 9 to 5 box of how humans should feel and act.
Hmm.
And the thing is that it's really interesting about that actually is that when you put pressure on something or someone,
Hmm.
eventually there's a kind of a blowout on the other side.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what happens in psychosis is that there's such a strong force of conformity on someone. Eventually they have a little personality blowout and they and act differently, but that's what the soul needs to get out of that conformity box.
Whoa, that is the cleanest way I've ever had that explained to me, actually.
Hmm. Hmm.
Huh, that's really interesting. So you're saying like, I mean, that makes perfectly great sense. Someone has to, because we all mask so heavy, even people that undiagnosed or never diagnosed. Like it's like, we all mask pretty heavy in our day-to-day life, right? Nobody is as funky as they really are. I mean, I've been in relationships with people for 11 years came home early one day, walked in and been like, you get that relaxed? Like that relaxed? Okay. Like you
Hmm.
don't even, and
Hmm.
we were cool with each other. Like we know each other for real. But you'd like come
Hmm.
home and catch them off guard and you're like, had I known that you act like that, I mean, I would act like that too, but as people, we just don't do that. We try and keep each other, we keep it a little bit clean and a little together, even when we're really
Totally.
comfortable, right? And so it's like, if we just let it hang out a little bit, and maybe this even goes into like fighting stigma surrounding it, is because we all want to pretend that it's supposed to look a certain way, that we forget that like just even ourselves, it's like it's okay to be a little bit funky sometimes, but
Oh,
um
it's essential. It's
yeah,
silliness and non-seriousness is the vibe. Like you
yeah,
if it there's a quote from the Christian religion, and it's you must become like little children to enter the kingdom of God. So if you're a kid and watching this, stay a kid. Keep that
yes,
energy for your life because and if you're an adult watching this, reclaim your playfulness and your kidness. Don't if you're a kid and watching this, then keep the playfulness best you can through your life. Believe in magic, believe in imagination, believe in and as an adult, you have to reclaim that
yeah.
fun fun and silliness is the only way to beat the doldrums.
Do you and oh, okay, so hold on. I got so many questions now, because so first of all, okay, so how do you have any like tools to like just be intentionally silly? Like how do we convince big blue collar dudes, or to like be playful again? Because even people who have children have a hard time like getting down on their hands and knees and kicking up dirt and making silly voices and stuff like that.
Um, so yeah, like you said, spending time around kids is
Mhm.
huge, huge. Just watching them. Um, but also there has to be a little bit of vulnerability there that you have to. kind of take off a mask
Yeah.
and put on a silly face.
Yeah.
Um, like what they say when you reach enlightenment, you throw your head back in laughter, ha, 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 and you realize how simple everything is. And then you just go look at trees for like 2 weeks straight, just, like, probably with a loincloth on and just admiring the beauty of all that is. That stereotypical kind of guru enlightened dude that comes from the Indian kind of religious areas. That's that's more right than the big man in the clouds with his throne, and he sacrificed his son to like appease him for being bad, and like the
Totally.
the
Totally.
Indians kind of got it right. They if if you don't believe in enlightenment, like what are you doing? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
what are you chasing then? What are you aiming for in this
What
life?
is
It's
this
like,
all for? Like, what is it
what is it all
for?
for, right? So
Yeah.
is it for a career step ladder to the top? Is it for amassing a bunch of money? Or is it for your soul's evolution at the end of the day? And
Mm.
if it is for your soul's evolution, there's a lot of ramifications to that, right?
Yeah.
Because if the soul is real, if you do believe the soul is real, then you have to believe that we're all connected as one. And you have to believe that all the energy of everything being connected as one is like a higher intelligence. And if you believe there's a higher intelligence, then that higher intelligence has to be part of you because you believe in your soul and it's all connected. And if it's all connected and there's a higher intelligence, then what are you limiting yourself by not tapping into that?
Listen, I'm telling you, like, hands down, as soon as you get onto that path of like enlightenment and light and love, all the other things that you thought you were trying to, succeed to that level to get, all don't matter anyway. Like, it's like as soon as you get there, like it's amazing how quickly power looks completely different. Right? Like power is
Yeah.
not money. It's like the closer I got to divinity was like the more my focus turned into um like maybe power, but in a completely different way. How many people can I support? How many people can I conquer? Maybe I do sound a little bit cultish, but like, how many people can I affect? How many, you know what I mean? Like, it looked completely
Yeah.
different. Like, there
How
was,
many lives can I affect? And
yeah,
yeah, how
yeah,
many worlds can I change? Yeah,
right,
well, the thing is, like, if you're familiar with manifestation or you're not, it doesn't really matter. But you probably
right.
heard some things about manifestation that um, it's all about thinking, right?
Hmm.
So if I think about $1 million, the $1 million is going to show up. That's a fallacy. That's a wrong way to look at it because it's actually the emotional vibration that's going to draw in. So it's about people say, I'll be happy when I'm rich. Aha, but you have to get the happiness first, the emotional resonance, and then the richness comes.
Yeah.
You got it backwards. You got the horse before the cart. So it's a inside emotional game you have to play. And there's the old saying, fake it till you make it. I don't really like that. I like
Mm.
force it till you source it.
Oh, I like
So,
that.
so force it till you source it is you don't feel, say, happy right now. I'm going to think of things that have made me happy in the past. And that is not just a memory, it's a portal. And that portal brings emotional resonance of happiness, which then starts to effervescence into the quantum reality that surrounds us, and it starts to activate similar vibrations, similar wavelengths. So there is nothing more important than being happy now. Like be happy now. If you can force it till you source it, if you can climb the emotional ladder, happiness will redirect your train tracks. And I can give you a interesting example of why this is so powerful is because if you're, say you're romping down the street and you're having a great time, you get your headphones on, you listen to your favorite music, boom, you bump into someone. Oh my God, it's Elon Musk, say for example.
Yeah.
And he catches a vibe off of you and he's like, hey, I like your vibe, I like your style, I like your energy. Uh, come back with me, have dinner or something, for example.
Totally.
But if you're walking down the street and you're ornery and irritable and grumpy and you bump into Elon Musk, like nobody's gonna give you any time of day. And that's just one example of like a physical manifestation of emotional ben benefiting.
Yeah.
But not only the metaphysical side of emotional strength and capacity. So men now have been trained that their emotions are girly and men are not supposed to feel emotions and they're maybe there's like two like four emotions: happy, sad, mad.
Yeah. Right. The
Okay,
standards.
so yeah, we're gonna soften up a bit and you can do a body scan and the emotions are held in the body and they're put out by the heart. And you can do a body scan and feel where your emotions are stored, and you can start to intentionally release them. And as you release that emotional tension, it creates a vacuum that really good ones kind of come in and fill up space.
Yeah. I also, okay, so, it sounds so silly, but when people are like, I'm going to manifest something and I'm going to do this, or I'm going to write a check, like, I never really thought about the pieces that were kind of missing in between, like the like intentional happiness, or like you need to be happy right now. Because a lot of people are like, I'm going to be happy once I'm done work, or I'm going to be happy when I get my day off, or I'm going to be happy when I've saved $10,000 and I've paid off this bill. And then there's like all this missed time in between that we
Mhm.
forget about it. And I never really thought about the idea that in that time we're losing like, never mind that we're losing out on just being happy, but we're losing out on all the possible opportunities that we could have in those spaces. Like,
Absolutely. It's like
yeah.
to whittle it down to the most simple way of looking at it is like if you think you're gonna be super happy when you make that $10,000,
Hmm.
why not just be happy now?
Yeah.
And then the $10,000 actually that's a bonus. It gets the 10,000 comes too.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. 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 And like, is it like, and like, why do we not? I mean, I guess that we have like our standards of emotions, but like, why not open the door to all these other opportunities, or open up the door to like all these new experiences?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's about being happy while like experience having it already. That's the other key I didn't
Mm,
mention. It's just you can have the $10,000 in your imagination, and the universe doesn't know the difference between you imagining it or it actually being here. It resonates at the same frequency, so it will draw it in. Gratitude for it. Thank you. Oh, it's so, and rejoicing, remembering the moment it came. Oh, it was so great when the money finally hit. Yes. I was just ecstatic, bouncing off the walls. So,
I've never heard of that.
yeah.
I actually don't know that part of it, and I think that's really interesting. Like to like that's a piece that I need to work on. For sure is that part where it's like, okay, like I can envision it being here. I can exercise my way through this. I know, like, I can bring kindness, and but just the part where it's like it's already happening. Because the truth is like, I've had $10,000 over and over and over again. So why
Exactly.
not be grateful for it already? Like, yeah, I like that part. That's nice. That's nice. I like that. I like this new. So I've always been taught that like all of these ideas are a little bit not necessarily like outlandish, but they're like a little hippie and like don't bring keep that
Yeah.
over there, or like we don't really care about your crystals or whatever. And so like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
grew up,
yeah.
I grew up in a household where
Sucks to be wrong, doesn't it? No, I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, totally. Look at me now.
Look at
Like
me now, yeah.
right? And like now
No,
it's
I don't
not
mean it like that. Everyone comes into their spiritual beliefs their own way, and there's no right way to grow a tree. So it,
fair.
if you're wherever you are, if you don't believe in crystals, I was there
That's
too,
fine.
my guy. Yeah, it's fine.
That's so funny. I met this beautiful African man on Quadra Island, and I never really understood where he would kind of show up in my life, but he had these crystals, and this one
Should
that
I get them passed to me as you say that?
shush your mouth.
Look at that. So I got my co-host, my set decorator, passing me crystals
Wow.
as you're talking about crystals.
Right on cue. She can't hear us either. Hey, that's wild.
No.
Wow.
Yeah,
No
beautiful.
kidding. No
Well, I am a
kidding.
geologist, so I came through an
Yeah.
atheistic schooling where rocks were inert and everything. And now I've like developed my empathy, intuition to the point where, and belief, you have to have the belief. Like it does, it's like magic. It doesn't work if you don't believe it. So you don't believe crystals work, they won't. Just the power of your belief is phenomenal. But if you do believe you have a connection with them, then you can start to feel the resonance and like their healing abilities. It's pretty, it's a mystery school, right?
It's such a powerful thing. Yeah. Wow. Check that out.
Beautiful, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
So,
gorgeous. Well, so here's like he handed me this crystal and he explained to me how to distill water in order to clean it and to charge it and all this
yeah.
stuff, and I was like, sure, like that's fine, like thank you so much, like I didn't really know what to do with it, but I was just like thanks. And years later I ran into him completely random with a friend of mine. We were walking down Vancouver just off of East Hastings actually, and he
Yeah.
walks up and does this full ceremony and weds us on a corner of a
Oh,
street.
wow.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm straight, so it's not even like that. She's just a friend of mine. But he performed this whole ceremony, this milk and honey ceremony,
Oh, wow.
and all this. And what's interesting now, because I took that with me, I was just like, okay, this dude he gave me some crystals, and then I ran into him and he did this ceremony and all this stuff. But what I realized later, oh, I have so many questions. What I realized later was the gift that he gave me. One, both of those things have come into more so than just a trend. Like to be,
Yeah.
it's not even trending. Those are key components to life. And I
And
felt like
evolution.
an evolution, and I feel like he gave me this little like this little hint of like what was to come, like this is what we're going to be doing, this is also what's going to
Yeah.
be happening, because it wasn't
Hmm.
asked, it was just gifted, like this is
Yeah.
gifted, this experience, like there was no permission, he just went for
No.
it. And I'm like, holy, he really set me up for success in a lot of ways. I was way more open-minded about things that really mattered later on down the road, like when they absolutely were crucial, when people were really hinging a lot on these topics. And I was like, oh no, that's absolutely, you need to place some stones around the room. That's absolutely fine. Had I been like, oh, what's happening here? Like it opened the door just enough for me to like really welcome some beautiful experiences later on in life, which took me up mountainsides and swimming in lagoons and all these other beautiful things. But I look back and I'm like, that human was just like, I'm going to bestow this gift of almost like just a little sneak peek, like into like what's to come. And I'm grateful for that. Grateful for that,
Yeah.
So,
That's when the student is ready, the teacher appears, right? Or the message
right.
appears. So
Yeah.
you were at a you were at a point where in your life where you had learned enough things to be receptive to, you've climbed enough up the ladder to be receptive to new information.
Oh,
And that's really what it's all about if you want to talk about ignorance is bliss or something, but also like clarity is bliss too, like being really clear-minded and connected, clairvoyantly, even to that degree. The opposite of confusion is clarity.
hmm.
I got a cool story for you. My
Yeah,
assistant just
please.
handed me these guys. These are two mini Jesus that I
Yeah.
have traveling with me.
Okay.
I got them on Temu.
Amazing.
And so, as you can see, one of them is a little dirtier than the other.
Okay.
This
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
guy, he went missing for 3 weeks, and I thought we were down to one. And it's my icebreaker. I'm like, I go up to people at the bar or something and say, "Hey, we found Jesus. He's in my pocket." And anyways, this guy went missing for 3 weeks, and 2 days ago, my friend comes up to the house here on his motorcycle, and he's like, "Hey, look who I found at the gas station. I found Jesus." And
What?
it was,
Whoa.
yeah, I
You just
know.
like brought him back to you? Are you kidding me?
No, I know. It was a miracle.
Uh,
Like honestly, Jesus came back into my life. So I don't know if that's not a synchronicity or a sign. I don't know what is.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Synchronicities, like they are my check marks. I'm like, yep, I'm on the right path. Yep,
Yeah,
this is what I'm
yep,
supposed to be doing. Yep,
I know.
absolutely. Like the day that I ignore those, listen, no, 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 no.
Yeah,
Like,
and
gotta take them in, man.
that's what I do is personal science. So I did a lot of science in school, and like thing they teach you is the scientific method, right? So
Right.
you you set out to create a question and a hypothesis about how the world works, for example, and then you observe, and then you experience. If you experience miracles or synchronicities or any kind of divine shifting of reality,
Yeah.
uh, you observe those results and then you form a conclusion and you change your mind based on that. So that's really simple scientific method to life is just like test a hypothesis. Okay, if God is real, then this such and such should happen in my life. Okay, I observe the results and something happens and I can form a conclusion off that, or I can go historically in my memory, like something happened. Wait, shouldn't have. How is this possible? Something happened like that. Yeah,
I think it's so neat that you have taken you're able to take the scientific hard truths, right? Like to be able to test something and to reproduce it and then test it again and then applied it to the spiritual side. I really appreciate you actually saying like right off the hop that, you know, spirituality isn't religion, or it can be, but that's not necessarily like what we're having a conversation about, because when these conversations come up, it's immediately like, we have a lot of beautiful guests in the comment section that are very God forward, and it's amazing. I wish that I could understand religion in that sense, but spirituality, I can appreciate 360. Like it doesn't
yeah,
have to look or be a certain way. It's like how and what you experience,
just
and then how that you would then apply it to, like, the next situation. And I think it's really neat, because a lot of the times we're like, okay, religion is, or spirituality is religion, we have to go to church to find it, or we have to, like you said earlier, you have to get down on your knees and pray, or you have to, sit whichever, and it has to look this certain way. So like, how did you go from being a geologist to
mhm.
understanding that, because obviously, and the crystals is obviously just a small part of it, but like, how do you go from something that's so logical to then in this space now where you're literally sitting in Nicaragua, like with two Jesuses in your pocket, in a space that looks so relaxing, like, because you're not sitting at a spa, like you're just situated with people in a space
At
that
home, yeah, we share
resonates the
this
same way,
space
right?
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, yeah, so my journey, I guess, we can cycle back to mental health.
Yeah.
My big spiritual awakening came within or just before my psychosis.
Okay.
And it revealed a lot to me about angels, about Jesus, about God. And it was just like so profound. And the proof was in the pudding for me that I, even though I was acting on the outside, like really irrationally and like kind of embarrassing myself, on the inside, I was having spiritual experiences to a degree that I don't know, maybe people going through, I thought I was enlightened, right? So I felt like
Yeah.
I was going through that and I wasn't, but maybe it was like a precursor or something or a little taste of what was to come or uh um yeah, it's really hard to like so men's mental health, there's like schizophrenia, there's bipolar, there's anxiety, there's depression. I think depression is a huge one.
Yeah.
I I never got the depression so much because I was so free to do what I wanted, but I was in psychosis because so I was not acting. So, but for men that are getting into depression, I think like I wanted to talk on this tonight
Yeah.
extensively was sovereignty. Like
Yeah.
you have sovereignty over your life, and it is a divine, it is a God like inheritance for you to choose where and when you want to go. Um, so much to discover inside of you. It's not just organs and bones. There's a whole freaking dimension in there that is very peaceful and loving and loves you and loves wants to like, hey, I want to have your back. I want to be your friend. I want to interact with you. I want to mentor you. Those things exist inside of you already. And we're not ever told that. We're told garbage,
Yeah.
bullocks. We're told things that are so wrong and false that it's disturbing to even speak them because how do you convince a God that he is not a God? You beat him down, you tell him to hate himself, you tell him he's not worthy, you tell him he's not powerful, you tell him magic is not real, you tell him that he's a sinner, you tell him he's that's how you beat a God down into disbelief so that he becomes a human. And that's something that you're going to have to bloom out of, uncover the layers of deceit, forget things, and relearn them. It it is a spicy journey, but it's worth it. Just commit to a little bit of spiritual discovery every day. Start your path. Uh, look within, look without, look at nature. It's beautiful. Have you been paying attention to the trees swaying in the wind? Because it's once you catch that glimpse, it's hard to look back. Have you felt your heart beating lately inside of you? Have you felt your water being transformed, like water into wine, but water into urine by the magic of your body? There's so much miracles happening around you, in you, like chromosomes, like DNA and cells activating, and each one of your cells has a soul, and you have a soul, and you have a higher self. And if you haven't been told and you don't believe me, that's okay. Like, but the truth remains the truth. At the end of the day, it's not a experiential thing. It's not. Experiential things are made up. This is a nature of the reality of our existence. This is the nature of how things are created and how we were created. So, yeah.
Hmm. Uh, okay, hold on. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Um, yeah, I appreciate all of that because, like, for so many different uh reasons, but it's when you were talking and I was like, "Hmm," and it was funny because I was actually joking, but then I thought, like, that is actually the response that we are absolutely, like, taught to react to all of that, like, sure. But I said it like I thought of it like jokingly, like, okay. And then as you were saying it, because I genuinely understood what you're saying, and I was like going through the whole thing in my mind, like, okay, I felt the water go down my esophagus lately? Like, have I actually focused on my blood flow lately? Like, have I noticed the trees? You know what I mean? But my outward reaction was not that. And I was like, okay, there's another example of like what is wrong with what we're doing as a society, because immediately my reaction is like not even skepticism, like I had like a physical reaction that didn't actually match what my emotional state was.
Mm,
And so thank you for saying those things, but also for like allowing me to like have that moment and just like kind of understand what I need to be doing differently, because those are all really simple things to focus on. None of those are expensive. None of those are complicated. None of those things take a lot of time. Those are all really simple. They're not simple. They're very huge, actually, but they're very minimal when it comes to how much energy that I have to put into them. And if those are the things that I can focus on to start building up this ultimate space that I want to live in all the time, that seems like a very reasonable way to start. So I appreciate it a
no
lot.
problem. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really neat. So you've obviously, started practicing these things. Is there anything that kind of stands out in your life as, um, okay, so being diagnosed with something or having psychosis and then having permission to have those experiences as an enlightenment situation. But is there anything throughout those series of events that kind of stands out as like a moment where you were like, I would either what I would like to experience that again, or that's something that I will forever cherish.
Um, love, love. I I, I think the germination of love from self-love to soulmate love coming into my life, and yeah, that is I'm most grateful for that, because I did the work, I did walk the path 7 years, probably lost in the desert, so to speak.
Yeah.
And when I came out the other side, I really cherished myself, and I was able to draw in a really cherishing relationship. And I'm so grateful for that. And we have actually decided to go our own separate ways now, but there's so much like gratitude and for the transition.
Yeah.
And I'm I just ready for what's next. And the thing is, the universe will surprise and delight you along your way if you're open to being surprised and delighted upon.
Yeah.
So if you expect, like they always say, no expectations, no expectations. That's true to a sense, but you can't have specific expectations. You can't be like, oh, I want that girl there and I want her now. That's too specific. You want a general expectation of, hey, I want something in this general direction. I want a girl or a soulmate
Yeah.
or a partner or
Yeah.
and I you make up general statements. This if you want to be surprised and delighted, you've got to be generally open to playfulness and delight and
Yeah.
fun. And if life is supposed to be fun, like don't forget that. Like if you love fishing or you love skiing or you love skate,
I do love fishing, actually, quite a bit. It's like my favorite thing to do. If you guys are hanging out with me in the comment section, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We obviously always love and appreciate all of you. I see some really awesome people in there. Tiana, Felice, Jason, Rob. You guys, I really appreciate all of your support and love. I'm going to assume Cody probably his phone died. So I'm going to take a leap here and you know, assume. But that was really interesting conversation, and I feel like we need to maybe touch on some of this stuff more often, because there's so many opportunities in this life to kind of take advantage of, open ourselves up to new ideas and little exercises that we can do for our mental health. We started Meme as a way to try new things. And I apologize because I completely forgot about posting yesterday. But I'm going to go ahead and post mine tonight. And the focus of that, or the point of that, was to find these little 5-minute things that we can do to just take a second. Like, we started it off by saying we're going to, pour a glass of water and go outside and drink the glass of water. And it seemed really silly or really too simple, but it started me on this beautiful trajectory of claiming space for myself. 5 minutes turned into 20 minutes, turned into hours. And then all of a sudden those hours kind of turned into a day. And instead of it just being a day for myself, it just turned into a day of happiness. Hi.
Hey,
Welcome back.
thank you.
Yeah. I thought maybe your phone died, so I was like, all right,
Wrapping things up. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Wi-Fi went down or something.
It is all good. I was just talking about this this hashtag Meme that we're doing in our community, and it's kind of neat. So we started at the beginning of May, and all we've been doing in our community is just posting like these little things, whether it's like pouring a glass of water and going outside and drinking the water with intention, or trying a new thing like yoga, or taking an hour for reading or whatever, and we're hashtagging them into the community. And I was just talking about how nice it's been, because it's kind of opened up all of these things that I wouldn't maybe allow myself the time to do. And I feel like today, having a chat with you was it had a place in this conversation, because you brought so many interesting things to the table for us to go home and try and talk about in the community. So yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, the biggest lesson is believe in magic and believe in your ability to have fun.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
you sprinkle those two ingredients together in your life. Nah, you ain't seen nothing yet, baby. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. Before you get out of here, though, can you please tell the people where they can go and check out your podcast?
Oh yeah, so my podcast is called Mad to Live on Spotify. Adventures through bipolar, and yeah, I try and update it when I can. There's 4 episodes out right now, so check it out if you want to know more about me and some of my history. And hopefully I can come back and do another session with these guys. It was so lovely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, the pleasure is absolutely all ours, Cody. We thank you so much for bringing in some of your wisdom and knowledge and life experience. It's not wasted over here, that's for sure. Any opportunity we can take to send people in the right direction, or we always talk over here about hashtag 988 being really important, which is the National Suicide Prevention Line, where you can go and get your naloxone kits. You guys go ahead and get them at a local pharmacy. You can use
Local
our
pharmacies, yeah.
Yeah, you can use our 250-289-3948 warm line if you guys need any support. Those are all really great tools, as are paying attention to what your body is doing, paying attention to the trees, taking the time to be silly and playful and have fun, and opening yourself up to these connections that you can have, because you never know when you're going to have them. Like you said, bumping into somebody in the streets maybe can change your life or change your day. So
Exactly. And just
yeah.
blessings on the journey, my brothers and sisters. Like,
Yes.
there's so much waiting for you.
Yeah.
You know, just spoiler alert, but you're gonna make it, and it's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, thank you everybody so much for hanging out with us tonight and joining us. We see you. We love you. You guys take care of each other. Please lean on us if you need absolutely anything. We are here
Absolutely.
for you. Cody, we'll
I'm
definitely
there
get
for
you back.
anyone. If you want to find me, Cody Spierenburg, anywhere. You reach out. I'm always down to talk.
Beautiful. There you guys go. We all got a new friend tonight, so that's never a bad
Yeah.
thing. Well, you go enjoy yourself in Nicaragua. I'm not gonna
Okay,
lie,
okay.
I'm a little bit jealous, but I will appreciate it from afar. You guys take care of yourselves and each other. You take care of yourself, and we will talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, guys. Blessings. Take care.
Yes,
Bye.
much love. Bye.
We stay strong. We stay
The
strong.
further you take my rights away, I'ma run to it, refuse to hear my voice. Speak loud when I spit it, but you don't get it. You just wanna be a side critic. See somebody else showing hate in the side of the road with it. Now how would you feel standing on the sideline and watch a color of a nation deteriorate over time? The flag real high, but compassion 6 feet below. Now you're searching for that justice that decided to never show. Deny my place and back with a trace. Keep up the pace, tight lace, game face. Get back in the race. Whatever they did could never be undone. Every dark night ends with the rising of the sun. Squandered every wealth that's built from the mud. Squandered every wealth that's built from the blood. Squandered every wealth that's built in chains. Stolen from the ancestors running
With
through
the
my
strength
veins.
of 1,000 lion and the strength of 1,000 giant, we stay strong. We stay strong. With the strength of 1,000 elephant and the strength of 1,000 tiger, we stay strong. We stay strong. We stay strong.
I can see, run to the light at the end of the tunnel winner.
We stay strong.
I can't breathe, we're gonna get oxygen without the justice system.
We stay strong.
And I know, gotta keep my head together.
We stay strong.
Don't doubt me, please don't doubt me.
We stay strong.
Tell me how can we be strong if we still shooting? Tell me how can we be strong if we still looting? Tell me how can we be strong if we still hating? Please tell me now, please.